This is my latest acquisition. This package is from Vacuum Sealers Unlimited, and I ordered this about a week ago, and it came with my Mylar bag. So let's see, the date I actually ordered this was on July 22nd. Today's the 29th. So exactly 1 week ago. So I got 25 Mylar bags. Now these Mylar bags are a little bit thinner, and when I was talking to the nice lady at Vacuum Sealers Unlimited, they sell a thinner Mylar bag, and they swear by it that it's just as good as the thicker bag. So we're going to see how that works out. And I also received a package of oxygen absorbers. So we're going to go through the rounds. We're going to test the bag, we're going to test the oxygen absorbers, and see how these products hold up. Now, one of the things I've always checked out, and this is usually the case, the oxygen absorbers are in a very tight fitting bag. If this was not tight fitting, you can tell that this was vacuum sealed. If this was not tight and was kind of, loose, that would be a bad sign. But the thing we want to take a look at these oxygen absorbers, and I'm about ready to repack these, is that the oxygen absorber inside needs to feel like flour. So if you feel this, it's nice and fine, feels like flour, feels like gravel or sand, that's a bad sign. So I'm going to go ahead and repackage these in individual little packs like this, 4 to a pack, and that's how I store my absorbers. All my oxygen absorbers have been repacked in packs of 4, and I have the 2 extra left over to do our little test on. So now that these are all repacked, I'll just keep these in a Ziploc bag until it is time to package my food. I have the oxygen absorber from Vacuum Sealers Unlimited. We're just going to call it VSU. And so we're going to go ahead and take this and put it into the jar and start our test. So this jar is 952 cc's. We got 21% of oxygen down here, which is around 200 cc's. So we're going to go ahead and start this test. And then this jar is our control. There's no oxygen absorber in it. It's just to see if there's going to be any influence by barometric pressure and temperature. So it's 12:30. Let the test begin. We are at our first dump at 9 hours into this project. So we're going to go ahead and release the fluid. Exchange the air and start the quest to the next dump. And we have no changes in our control. It's been another 9 hours, so we're into this for a total of 18 hours, and we're going to do the second dump. This comes up to 400 cc's, and on to the third dump. We are at 29 hours, and this, I believe, is dump number 3. So this makes a total of 600 cc's. And on to the next one. We are 48 hours into the experiment, so we're even 2 days. And this is the fourth dump. which has given us so far 800 cc's. And this absorber was rated for 300 cc's. So we're going to see if it will do it again. So we're into this 91 hours, and it looks like this oxygen absorber is pretty much done. So we're going to go ahead and mark it and measure it. And dump it. So this is where we just ended up dumping that. It was just a little bit short, maybe a 1/4 inch of the 200 cc mark. So we'll measure this and see how much we had. On our very last dump, the fluid level got up to this mark right here. So we're going to go ahead and calculate that and see what the final dump came to. Okay, so the last dump came to 171, and we add that to the 4 previous dumps. That gives us 971 grams, or 971 cc's. If you take a look at the control during our experiment, you can see that there's no significant uptake due to atmospheric pressure changes or by temperatures. There's just a very thin little film at the bottom of that jar. To put this into perspective, this is 300 cc's, and this is what the oxygen absorber from VSU was rated for, and this is what the oxygen absorber accomplished. It sucked up not only that amount, but this amount also. So altogether, this sucked up 971 cc's. Pretty impressive. This is one of the samples from my order from Vacuum Sealers Unlimited. So we're going to take a look at this 300 cc oxygen absorber, and we're going to go ahead and dissect it and see what's all made about. And the first thing I'm going to check out is it's nice and soft, feels like flour. If it feels gravelly or like sand, it's an indication that it's partially or been spent. And so the contents is about the same as the package. So the package is coming up more at 9 grams, and the contents is coming up at 8 grams. So we're going to go ahead and spread this out. Now, according to the SDS sheet on section 2, now this is an MSDS sheet. This is an older sheet. The new ones are called an SDS, but it shows that the active ingredients in here are iron powder, activated carbon, salt, and vermiculite, which is basically dirt. So we're going to go ahead and extract all the iron out of this, and we'll see what is left, how much is left over here. So we have 1 gram of secondary ingredients. We're going to go through this a second time and see if we can get anything else out of here. Okay, it looks like our secondary ingredients are actually 2 grams. Which means we have a total of 6 grams of iron. In theory, 1 gram of iron powder can absorb 300 cc's of oxygen. So we have 6 grams of iron powder, so in theory this could absorb 1800 cc's of oxygen. We just don't know how much this iron powder has been exposed to oxygen from the time it was mined out of the earth or refined or whatever the case would be. but we're going to go ahead and continue our experiment and see what happens. So with 6 grams of iron powder, and then we have 2 grams of secondary ingredients, then we have the packet itself, we're back to basically 8 grams. This is just on the border between 8 grams and 9 grams. So that is the contents of our oxygen absorber. As long as this iron powder has not been exposed to the atmosphere, I have a good feeling about these oxygen absorbers. And these absorbers were made by a company out of China, Tianhua Technology Company Limited, China, and they're in Nanjing, China. So anyway, I have a good feeling that because of all the iron powder in here, I think these oxygen absorbers are going to be, they're going to exceed 300 cc's and do a pretty good job. These are the bags I got from Vacuum Sealers Unlimited. I got a pack of 25, and these are claiming to be 5 mil bags. So we're going to take one out, and we're going to put it through the paces and see, got 2 of those out, and see exactly what it is. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at this. One thing I've noticed about this is right off a little bit different. This is the bottom of the bag right here, and they got 2 little notches here for a tear strip across the bottom, and on the other side they have a tear strip along here too. So that's kind of different. It's a good difference. So we're going to go ahead and open this up. And we're going to take a sample reading. We're going to take about 60 samples. That'll be a good population of this particular bag, and we'll see exactly how thick it is. Now I went ahead and calibrated this thickness gauge earlier. So here we go. Okay, so I took 40 readings, that's going to be plenty. And it comes up, and the average is 5.1. So they pass on that, and they're also saying this is truly a Mylar bag. The only other issue to address is the thickness of the bag. This feels like a pretty decent bag. It's 5 mil, and a lot of our other bags that we order can be up like to 8 mil. But the question would be, and this is somewhat a rhetorical question, are we going gaga over 8 mil bags when something may work that's a little bit thinner? And the people at Vacuum Sealers Unlimited thinks that a 5 mil is perfect and will work for everything that we need to use it on. So this is the home page for Vacuum Sealers Unlimited, and the first thing you see is meats. And as you scroll down here, they live up to their name. They have about every sealing gadget you can imagine to seal their goods with a vacuum. And so it looks like they have, home use vacuum sealers, they have commercial vacuum sealers, retractable nozzle vacuum sealers, and they have all the bags and all sorts of things. So it's not just like a freeze dry outfit. This is pretty much for anybody that wants to put up food, or preppers or hunters. They have the impulse sealers that we all know and love. They got meat grinders and processing trays and sausage bags and papers and for hamburgers, and I mean they have all sorts of stuff. Cut resistance gloves, that's something we can all have, even coffee bags. If we go up here, we can click Mylar bags, and this pretty much gives you an idea what they have. Here are the oxygen absorbers, and the tests that we did on their oxygen absorbers, they are really, really good. Mylar bags, let's go into here, and they have just they have several different, styles of Mylar bags, but they only have them in 5 mil. So everything here you see appears to be 5 mil. Now they have the textured Mylar bags right here that you can use with a lot of the vacuum sealers that are, counter style vacuum sealers. Stand-up bags, 1 and 2 quart Mylar bags, 1 gallon, 2 gallon, and all the way up to 5 gallon Mylar bags. And from the spec sheet that they supplied me, these are genuine Mylar bags from DuPont Asian. Going over to the oxygen absorbers, they have 100 oxygen absorbers and 100 count, 100 cc oxygen absorbers, 250 count, and 300 cc oxygen absorber and 50 count. That is what I purchased. $14.99, not a bad price. If you look on down here, they have higher quantities for the 300s, 2000 cc's, and so forth. So they have a pretty decent website here. So while we're on the internet, we're going to go into the Better Business Bureau page and take a look at Vacuum Sealers Unlimited. They're out of California, and I don't even want to pronounce that word. So they do have an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau, and they've been in business for 12 years, which is pretty good. So they're not a startup, and they're definitely not a fly-by-night, so they've been around for a while. They've been in business since February 1st of 2010. They're a corporation, so they're not a sole proprietor, and they're not an LLC. And this must be the person, the nice lady I talked to, who's the owner, Lisa. And if you want more information, you can jump into the Better Business Bureau page and click around and see what you can find. But it looks like they're a pretty solid company. So this is Vacuum Sealers Unlimited. I referred to them in the past in some of my videos as VSU, and unfortunately I didn't tell a lot of people what VSU stood for, but it's Vacuum Sealers Unlimited. Now here comes the disclaimer. These products are only as good as the here and now. Now, these oxygen absorbers are really good. I'm very pleased on how they turned out, but this is only for the here and now. If Vacuum Sealers Unlimited changes their suppliers, or if the manufacturer changes their formula, all these can be right out the window. So, like I said, buyer beware. When you go to purchase things, educate yourself on where the products come from, what's inside, the thickness, the weight, all that real fun stuff. You may not like the 5 mil bag. I've tried them and they work out pretty good. So there's my disclaimer. I didn't get any compensation from Vacuum Sealers Unlimited. I only make this video so I can help those in the freeze drying world be a little bit more efficient and perhaps save a little bit more money. This is the MSDS sheet for the oxygen absorbers. So this sheet is actually a little bit outdated because as of about 4 or 5 years ago, everyone was required to go over to an SDS sheet. The new sheets, I think, have 16 sections. This only has 12 sections, but that's a whole nother issue. The important thing we're looking at is down here in section 2. Now, these oxygen absorbers made by this company, which I'm not going to try to pronounce, are really good oxygen absorbers. And if you take a look at the ingredients, they have iron powder. Unfortunately, they don't give the percentage, which is optional over here. But it's iron powder, activated carbon, salt, and vermiculite, which is kind of an ingredient for dirt in a sense. But these 4 ingredients seem to do a really good job. I've seen all kinds of ingredients in oxygen absorbers, and it seems like this combination is a real good combination. So if you are looking for good oxygen absorbers, ask for the SDS or MSDS, which they are required by US law to provide you, and take a look at the ingredients and see if it's something nice and simple like this, or if they have some really oddball stuff in it. But anyway, that's the whole reason behind the SDS, is it'll give you an idea of what's in the oxygen absorber that you're going to be using.